Way we are on the penultimate episode of Oh What a Marvel WandaVision. I am your host, Dean Lewis, and we have Jay. What?
I don't know. I'm excited to be back. I'm just excited. I missed you guys last week.
I forgot to put my hat on before I went on screen, which I don't.
Oh man, I thought it was something I did.
I'm going bald in my hair. I got like this, I'm going bald like right here. It's very light, and so I have the back. I kind of comb it up, trying to like cover it up, and it does not work. And I noticed it, and I'm like, oh, holy shit, dude, I got to put my hat on this. So I'm like hurrying up. Hopefully nobody noticed.
But are you going bald or are you going grey? Like the vision.
Very excited about that thing. Okay, all right.
Oh, right there, guys. We're watching this episode of Rewatch because I've started at the end. Oh my God. God, Sean, what are you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say, introduce us first, and then I got to yell at you for a minute.
And Sean, who's here to yell at us this week and not talking about the episode because he's not a professional. How you doing?
No. Hey, how's it going? Every time I look at your hat, Wade, that's my high school mascot. So, or it was my high school mascot when I went to high school. So I just think about it, Longhorns.
It's a good team to think about. I was born in Ohio, but I was raised for the first part of my life in Texas, and I love Texas. I was a Houston Astros fan. I saw Nolan Ryan pitch many times. Well, not many times, but a few times for the Astros, and he's my favorite baseball player of my lifetime while I've been alive. And then, of course, Griffey Jr. back there is the man too. But anyway, this is not about baseball or the Longhorns. Yeah, dude, this episode was awesome, and I'm excited for Sean to give Dean hell because this is going to be good and well-deserved.
All right.
Go on, let's go.
So I was having a great day. I was having a pretty bad week at first, okay? And then yesterday they announced a bunch of Final Fantasy VII Remake stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, this is great. And then last night I watched an incredible episode of WandaVision, and I was like, oh, it's even better. And then they announced 2 new Pokemon games, and I was on cloud 9, man. I was having the best day of my life, and I was like, you know what? Before I go on the show tonight, I should listen to what they said last week. And then I just had to hear the most obscene, the most crazy. There was one person on the show last week that had their mind in the right state, and that was Mr. Jay Wade. What guys? Last week was incredible. That was, I mean, maybe the funniest sitcom stuff we've had so far. Like Wanda's whole, like, you know, I've decided that nothing matters, but you know, if you want to come to your own conclusions, that's cool too. And like Monica getting her powers was awesome, and the reveal of, I mean, we got the song of the summer in Agatha All Along. I mean, that song is everywhere, and it broke my heart to hear you, Dean, and Sarah, who is hiding today from me. She didn't show up because she knew how mad I was about last week. It broke my heart. Broke my heart.
I don't know, man. I just feel like they kind of last week's episode and maybe like the week before or this week's episode probably could have been condensed because it was all about the reveal last week, and this week is still kind of all about the reveal, but we're going back to the beginning.
You know what?
And not just
I'm not mad.
Iron Man.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Oh
yeah,
man, that's worse.
Butt hurt about full hat. He's got a full butt, everybody. He's got a full butt.
Oh.
Anyway, we go back to the beginning, and I'm not just talking about Iron Man. I'm not talking about Captain Marvel. I'm talking Massachusetts, Salem, in I don't know what year it is. They didn't specify.
1693?
Something 16, something like that.
There you go. So, you know, just a couple of years before Jay was born here, we're in 1693.
I mean, you're not too far off. I'm not gonna argue with you.
99, damn it. Get it right.
So I at the beginning of the show, right? I had I when at the beginning of the show where they're talking about like all the way back episode 1, right? They're talking about anniversaries, okay? Agnes says that her date, their special day is June 2nd. And immediately I was like, well, okay, what's June 2nd? And I looked it up. June 2nd was the beginning of the Salem witch trials. So episode 1, I'm looking up this date like, okay, she's referencing the beginning of the Salem witch trials. Imagine my face last night when I start this episode of WandaVision and we start in the Salem witch trials. I'm sitting there like, yes. Oh, it was so good.
Man, I'm surprised. You know, they went straight for the witch stuff. They went deep into Witchland, like from the get go. Like I was wondering how they're going to handle this. You know, we kind of just going to acknowledge that kind of, you know, because they're superheroes basically. I mean, what we see them doing in this with the you know, the magic binding things that they do on Agnes at the beginning there to the holder to the pole or the cross. You know, and then the beams. They've all got blue beams, and they kind of. I don't know. I thought I'd be questioning a lot more. Like, really? We're just going to believe that people were running around in Massachusetts in 1600s just blue beaming everywhere, and we're only just hearing about this in the Marvel Universe now? I surprisingly was okay with that. I thought I was going to be questioning that a hell of a lot more than I did. Jay, as a casual fan, they kind of just throw you into 1600s. You know, you're back at home, and we're going straight in magical powers. We're not really stopping to explain the logic of what they're doing and how they're doing it. How does that feel for you as a casual Marvel movie fan?
I didn't think anything of it at all. First of all, because I've seen a lot of movies and shows about the Salem witch trials, so like, and I got the gist that, you know, she was doing shit she shouldn't have been doing, so that she was being punished, and I didn't question any of the witchcraft stuff. And I don't like, even though it's like a comic book world. In my mind, when I view it as if all of that stuff is in this real life world that we're in now. So in this, you know, witchcraft, literal witchcraft being involved with anything would not surprise me whatsoever. I thought it was awesome.
Yes. What do you just like we have John? Like.
Oh, I think that's I think that's funny. I thought that was a funny sentence.
What sentence? Which one?
You were saying anything in the real world having witchcraft involved would not surprise you, and I was like, yeah, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me either at this point.
It's just like
hold on, Dean. I'm sorry, that was funny to you.
Well, I'm agreeing with you.
So I'm a fucking clown now.
You're a very funny person.
Make you laugh? Is that what
I just came out here and I was like, Jay Wade is the only person last week that had his goddamn mind straight, and you're already what's happening here? I thought we formed an alliance. All right,
Goodfellas.
I haven't.
Okay, then you didn't get it whatsoever. But that was brilliant for those who have seen Goodfellas.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm just gonna hang out here real quick while everyone each other.
So I loved this scene with the Salem witch trial stuff, because one thing that the Marvel Universe has done so well in the Infinity Saga, right, is making everything kind of small, right? Like Captain Marvel's powers, everything kind of comes from a certain set of things, right? So like we get introduced to Captain Marvel, who's this awesome badass with weird magic powers, or not magic powers, but weird powers. And they're like, but the Tesseract gave it to her, right? She got it from the Space Stone. Everything has kind of had an origin of like connected to something that we already know existed. Vision's created by the Mind Stone. Up until now, that's how Scarlet Witch and Pietro got their powers, was from the Mind Stone. Obviously, that's not true anymore, but they did such a good job of making everything feel really small. And it felt like with this episode, they were like, that's not going to be the case anymore. We're not going to hold your hand and be like, this is where everybody's powers come from. And it's not going to be a neat thing that you're going to recognize. There's going to be witches now. We're going to have Shang-Chi, who's just a dude with magic powers that punches dragons. Like, we're not going to connect everything to the Infinity Stones anymore like we used to. And I really appreciated that.
Yeah, I think they've earned it. I just worried that it was a bit bold, but I assume that majority of people are kind of just going to be on board with this. Be like, yeah, we're in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They're probably, if we've got like myths of like witches and magic, then they probably actually have witches and magic. So
yeah, I mean, we've
it doesn't need too much more than that. I agree.
seen magic in like Doctor Strange and stuff, and I guess I don't think they ever really explained where that magic came from. So
No, they don't.
it
They don't.
exists.
There's just energy in the universe that some people can tap into, and that's it. Speaking of energy, you notice how they've got her in the middle and they're all firing their blue energy into her. She's got like a red energy inside of
Mhm.
her, and then it's like their blue energy mixed, like hits her red energy, and when she fires it back out, it's like when she kind of develops the purple
Yeah.
kind of. What I'm interested to know is what is she up to that they all don't like, because we don't really find that out, but it's clear that she's trying to do something that they are not fans of. Is she trying to contact somebody? Is she trying to utilize a dark magic that that everyone else is kind of forbidden, that maybe relates to somebody else? Anyone got any thoughts on that?
Not really. The only thought I have is, on the idea of contacting somebody. I'm going to go ahead and eat my own words here. As of right, I don't think Mephisto's in this show, guys. I think, we've
No.
been kind of saying Nightmare. I think we got the bad guys. I think this entire thing has been explained. It was Wanda kind of pushed into her grief by Hayward.
But
Kind
the
of,
Cicada man
Yes, he plays.
showing
I want
up.
to talk about
In,
Hayward in a bit.
in the past in comic book stuff, that Nightmare like was a horsefly at one point in time.
yeah. I mean, the bunny ate the cicada that showed up. I think that what happened was Wanda was kind of pushed into this grief by Hayward, who wanted to reform Vision, right? So he kind of was. I mean, that's like, I don't want to talk about it too much because we're going to talk about it, but I think she created this place in her grief, and then Agatha was like, "What the fuck is this? That is wild," and showed up. I don't think Mephisto's involved. I assume that we will eventually meet a demon type thing in the Doctor Strange movie, but I don't think they're involved yet. Maybe they'll show up at the very end of the show and they'll have been attracted to Wanda because of what's happening in the same way that Agatha was, but I don't think that Mephisto has been involved in the show up until now.
No. My thought watching this on this stuff was maybe it's Chthon that she's trying to, because in the comics, guys, Chthon is like, he's like responsible for, like, he created like the chaos magic, right?
Mhm.
That Scarlet Witch, who now has the name Scarlet Witch, taps into, and um and he's also tied into Wanda's origin and like how she kind of was born with her witchy powers and stuff like that. It seems a bit late in the game now to kind of bring that in, but they definitely hint that Agatha is working or in tandem with something that she shouldn't be, that nobody else is touching.
Mm.
And maybe that's something that they're leaving as a thread that they can come back to at some point later and touch on. Like, oh yeah, Agatha was actually, this is the guy that she was trying to contact, and it's Mephisto or it's Nightmare, and then it retroactively ties in back into this series in Doctor Strange 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
I've got a wild theory.
Oh, I want to hear your theory.
Dude, guys, as you just heard with the fly and the cicada bit, I've been doing some research. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going there. I'm doing some deep dive into this stuff. I've comic books, just anything I get my hands on. And there is a bad guy here. It's not Agatha. There is someone else pulling the strings. It is Kite Man from the DC Comics. He is making his official debut in the MCU, and that's what's going on here. It's Kite Man.
Wade, you never disappoint me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
As for
Kite Man, I don't think that theory is going to take off, guys.
I think it's possible that she'll communicate with somebody. I mean, Agatha's old, right? Like, we get introduced to her in the 1600s. So, and she also seems very experienced. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe she's had dinner with Mephisto before. Maybe she sat down. I do think it is still interesting, the husband thing. We still haven't seen what that's about, but I don't know. This show still has me on my toes, but I think it's becoming less and less likely that there is another force already involved.
Yes. My theory last week is that I think the likeliest scenario is that this whole show plays out as it's going, and then maybe we get a post-credit scene that implies that maybe Agatha was working for or with somebody bigger. I think that's probably the most we're going to get as far as like another big bad
I hope so.
in this. I think,
'Cause-
yeah, I think a post-credit scene is probably as far as we're going to go with that, I would imagine.
And that also leads into like, I don't want them to kill Agatha in this show. I
want to see her like more in the MCU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Movies. I don't care.
I
and
think she's killing it.
Real quick. Her last name, Han.
Yeah,
Dude,
Catherine Hahn.
Catherine Hahn, yeah.
I'm not saying I'm related to her, but I am saying that my mother's maiden name is Han, H-A-H-N. So
See,
you never,
see if you can get her on the show.
maybe I'll reach out, man.
Can you just put in a good word with her people and see if we can get her on for the finale next week.
I mean, you were in the writers' room, right, Wade? You wrote the show, so you should have some connections on that way.
They didn't use most of my ideas, any of them, but
the Kite Man thing was a bust.
Wade's like, they were supposed to introduce Kite Man 3 episodes ago. What the hell?
Because how are they going to fit the whole Kite Man backstory into one more episode, guys? It just doesn't make sense.
When are they going to show Jesus Joker? I don't understand. I'm waiting, man.
Oh, man. Snyder was poking the bear with that one. Anyway. So we get back up to, I want to say modern day, but not quite modern day. We kind of catch up to ourselves with Catherine Hahn, Jay's auntie, great auntie. You know, it's more believable, probably not because she's old, but just because she's so different to Jay. You know, we want to have Catherine Hahn on this show, guys. So if anyone can get a word
if anybody knows Catherine Hahn, be like, oh, what a marvel on Merc with the Movie Blog. Really wants to have you on their show.
Yeah, just if you only ever get to say one thing to Catherine Hahn, make sure you plug this show, guys.
Even if it's 3 years from now. Even if it's 3 years from now, have her be like, hey, they did every episode, man. They did them all.
They covered them all. Every single episode. They even talked about the unused Kite Man plot.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, we are coming back. What I love about this episode, guys, is we kind of it's called Recap, by the way, and I saw the title of this episode. I thought, Recap, man. I feel like we've had like 2 episodes of Recap already. Like every 2 or 3 episodes, we stop and we kind of catch up with ourselves. I feel like they were kind of spoon feeding us a little bit by last week. Hence my point about hitting the same beat over and over again.
Being wrong, it's okay. It's okay.
I enjoyed it this time. We go back through the Marvel Universe. We kind of revisit kind of in between like a few of the other movies, and we fill in a lot of questions that I'd always had. How did the conversation with Vision start? How do you develop a romance with the Vision?
Oh my God,
where did that thought pop into your head? All of this kind of stuff.
This episode, I think, when it comes to character, is the single best thing Marvel has ever done. When it comes to character, man. It doesn't have the big plot of like Infinity War, right? Or Endgame, and it doesn't have the big action sequences of any like a Civil War or something, but it's really the closest anything Marvel Studios has done has come to being like a character study. Like this entire episode is just about Wanda and her grief over the period of her life. And I mean, you talk about that scene between her and Vision. I wrote it down because Vision has the best lines, okay, in everything.
Is it about the grief?
Yes. So I saw a lot of people talking about this online, but Vision hit us in Age of Ultron with a thing isn't beautiful because it lasts, which is a great line, I think.
Yes.
In Age of Ultron, and then bringing it back in 2021, he hits us with what is grief if not love persevering, and I just think they give the best lines to Paul Bettany. He's like, and the man is so good. I thought this episode was fantastic.
Prometheus, dude, amazing, so good.
So when Mephisto showed up, and
Prometheus, dude, he fucking killed it.
Yeah, man. And Magneto in Wimbledon.
It's gonna be weird. They're gonna have him play Magneto and Vision at the same time. That's kind of weird.
Hey, man, sounds awesome.
Yeah, well, he's a diverse dude. He's really varied and versatile actor there. So if you're gonna get him in for the Vision, you might as well get him to play Magneto as well. Like you've got Michael Fassbender, star of Assassin's Creed, right there.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be so
Like
fucking bad.
you've got Academy Award nominated star of The Snowman. You put him in a goddamn Magneto movie and your
No more. No more. No more.
I'm walking in the air. Anyway, guys. I'm losing my train of thought. So we get Wanda, we get the origin, we kind of tie in, we kind of weave in a little bit to or kind of touch on like the commercials that we've been seeing with the flashing red light and on the start one, we get all of this stuff. We explain the sitcom thing, we get they're watching videos with their parents. Pietro says, "Why is it always this sitcom stuff?" Which I thought was a great line. It's always sitcom. Which he must have been watching the first 3 episodes of this with everyone on the internet because
This show is very meta.
we felt it.
I mean,
Yeah, that they every now and then they do just enough, with that stuff where they like the self-referential and like just the writing of the show or like the history of kind of what we know as the Marvel cinematic universe, that then just like in universe like history and stuff like that, and the kind of the crossover between the two, the nexus point, if you will.
Nexus. Okay, yeah. I hear you. Agatha has a line like that where she's like, "I have a theory, but I need more." And I was like, "Me for the last 8 episodes. That is what I have been thinking, Agatha." But yeah.
Yes. So we get the origin of Pietro, and this is great, man, because I always thought when we saw Winter Soldier, it's like, oh man, I wish, I get that they had to kind of get those characters in there, and they kind of like took the shortcut route, to kind of get them in for Age of Ultron and stuff, but it worked. But I'm so glad we got to go back and touch on this stuff, because it really just it felt like I was I don't know if it's just the way that it was shot or like seeing some of the sets and stuff in some of these scenes as we're going through Wanda's history, but I felt like they were shot like in the style of like the Marvel movies that were like of the time, in the same way that they kind of aped the sitcom styles. When we're watching the origin of Wanda and Pietro, we'll get to that in a minute. That was a good line.
That was a great line.
But yeah, it felt like that credit scene from
Winter Soldier, yeah.
Winter Soldier. It had that dark griminess, and then as we kind of go through the history, and we get into the stuff with Wanda and Vision meeting and stuff in Avengers Compound. It just felt like I was right back in Civil War, Age of Ultron, like in a deleted scene or something.
Exactly. It felt like a deleted scene from Civil War. It was incredible.
It didn't just feel like retroactively kind of filling in stuff, because we accepted their relationship without all this stuff, this backstory stuff anyway.
It makes it
but
so
they
much better.
didn't need to put it in there. But man, Vision's gonna die again, guys. Like,
I got a theory. I got a theory, but we'll talk about it in a little bit. I want to say with the revisiting stuff, we got a little bit of a retcon. I mean, it's a pretty major retcon, but it's a retcon that works in that Wanda's powers no longer come from the Mind Stone. They were amplified by the Mind Stone.
Yes.
And I think that's a great retcon because really it didn't really make a whole lot of sense, did it? Like, I mean, Wanda's powers coming from the Mind Stone made sense. She had like mind powers.
Yeah.
Pietro got super speed from the mind. That never really made any sense, did it? Like,
I mean, we don't cover this though in this episode because we see that Wanda has a different reaction to the scepter. So what happened with Pietro then? Was he a witch or a wizard, or how did he just react that way to that to the stone? He's a bit weird.
My theory is that she changed him like she changed Monica, but on a smaller level. Like, obviously she didn't make a giant hex that he walked through, but I think it's the same power that she ended up using to create to change Monica into superhero. I think she did the same thing to Pietro, and that's where he got his super speed from. Because the Mind Stone, it just doesn't make sense for him. We all accepted it in Age of Ultron, but really, when you think about it, it doesn't really make sense.
Do you think she kind of just affected his DNA, like kind of how she affected the I've forgotten the thing now. She she man,
like she affected the hex with Monica.
No, the bomb.
Oh,
because they say, which is another plot hole that I always thought about, because I was like, man, what is this? We're supposed to believe that Tony Stark is the best genius, billionaire, inventor guy in the world, and his damn bomb is a dud. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't want anyone to die in a war-torn country, getting blown up in their own home with their parents dead on top of them. I don't wish that on anyone.
What a weird disclaimer.
Well, my Tony Stark bombs to work, people.
What a strange disclaimer to have to make. I just, just so everybody knows, I'm not advocating for bombings in war-torn countries that kill families.
But if you're gonna do it right. I mean,
it's a Stark bomb. This ain't no Hammer bullshit. This is a Tony Stark Industries bomb. That shit should have gone off straight away. No Scarlet Witch, no WandaVision. Show's cancelled. Goodbye.
I do want to talk about that scene a little bit, because I picked this up for Wade to put on here, just when she was like, no peeking or whatever, right? That's like, in episode 1 when there's she puts the hands up, she's like, oh, that's the Sokovian greeting thing, and they do that a couple times. I'll bring up the other one when we get to that scene, but we also were kind of talking, I mean, you talked about the Nexus and the Mind Stone. Do you want to talk about what happens with the Mind Stone?
Well, in the stuff in that scene.
Yeah, when we get a little image or something, because I have it to pull up on screen.
And what are you waiting for? Pull it up. Leave me hanging. You got the image.
There you go. It's right there. Look at that. Oh,
that one right there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Damn it, Wade.
So, are you gonna put this up or what?
I keep trying to put it up.
Exactly what you're trying to show us, and it's cool, but
right there. Wade, goddamn it. Look.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's obviously Agatha. What?
They can't see me, but I put my head down.
What?
That is Scarlet Witch. That is her in her comic look.
That is Agatha.
That is Scarlet Witch from the comics. That is her hairstyle from the comics. That's her crown.
I don't even know who Scarlet Witch is, but that's Agatha.
No, man. That is clearly the Silver Surfer at Halloween. I don't know what you're talking about.
Whoever the Scarlet Witch is.
So here's my question for you, Dean. As you are the other Marvel comic fan. The only other one in the world.
Yes.
People online have been talking about how, there's these Nexus beings and all that in the Marvel comics, and we kind of got some hints at the Nexus stuff in the I think it was last week's commercial.
Yes.
Do you think, I saw some people online theorizing that possibly this is actually the Scarlet Witch from the comics, kind of nudging forward the Scarlet Witch of the movie universe.
So this is the full potential version. This is what you could end up as, kind of thing. This is like the alpha Scarlet Witch, if you will.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think it was like you're destined to be this legendary Scarlet Witch thing, and that's kind of like what you might look like in the future when you fully embraced your powers. I think people are reading too much into the
Nexus stuff.
She opened up a portal and showed her the the 616 Scarlet Witch,
Okay.
or she showed her actual future self. I think people are taking it a bit too heavy, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think she's opening gateways into other dimensions. We've made it clear already that we're not really doing multiverse here, as such, and it's just Agatha kind of creating stuff, and she can't create the stuff that Wanda's doing. She can
No,
make the
yeah.
bird out
I love
of
that scene.
she can make the bird out of the bug, but she's like, you're next level. You've got like a whole script thing running on autopilot.
Mhm.
We can't do that. And obviously that's what Agatha wants to be able to do. Is that what Agatha was trying to tap into in the beginning when all the other witches turned on her? And who kind of perpetuated this legend of the Scarlet Witch? And what purpose does that, what role does that person, or does that fill in the kind of greater universe going forward?
First of all, I love the Scarlet Witch thing. While I was watching the episode, I was like, man, it feels like the Phoenix from the X-Men, kind of.
Yes.
I love them kind of switching it to something that's kind of like how the Phoenix is in X-Men. I think the Scarlet Witch idea, love it. It's great. I don't know if that's what she's after. In the episode, at the end, she's like, "You're fucking dangerous. Like, if you become the Scarlet Witch, you could destroy everything, and I'm not gonna let that happen." It almost seems like she's trying to stop Wanda from doing damage. Like, I feel like she thinks
she's trying to make contact with dark magic and tap into dangerous shit.
Yeah,
herself. So
I think there's probably a difference between what she was trying to do and the power that Wanda has access to. It feels like, from Agatha's point of view, she's doing the right thing. I think she truly believes that taking out Wanda is the right thing to do because she is too dangerous.
do you not think she wants to it seems like she wants Wanda to fulfill this role of the Scarlet Witch, to like she's some kind of like chosen one. Once she achieves this kind of like legendary status, then maybe she can kind of like teach a new generation of witches how to like do this next level of chaos magic or something. But we're gonna have to hold this thought, guys, and go to a quick commercial break.
God damn you.
And
God damn you, Dean.
we will get back into it in just one moment.
Hi everyone, this is Sarah, host of Go Get That Rose podcast, a podcast that is dedicated to talking about all things Bachelor Nation. Join Jay Wade, a man in his 40s who is recently new to all things Bachelor Nation, and myself, someone who has been watching passionately for the past 3 years, as we review, share our thoughts on each episode of whatever show is currently on TV, whether that is Bachelor, Bachelorette, or Bachelor in Paradise. We might not even know everyone's name, but we have fun nonetheless. You can find us on Merc with a Movie blog feed wherever you listen to podcasts.
So I was getting down to Agatha all along.
He was getting down
to Agatha all along.
And everyone should go and get that Rose 2 on Wednesdays. Go check that show out. It's a lot of fun for you Bachelor people out there.
This right here, this is this is without doubt Christie. I don't know how you guys don't realize that, but it is without doubt. So
okay. To answer your question,
I can't believe they got Enchantress from Suicide Squad in there. Go on.
To answer your earlier question, I think that when it comes to what Agatha is trying to do, and why she wanted to kind of bring Wanda out, was I think she wanted to make sure before she killed her. I think she wanted to make sure that she wasn't just killing because she kind of had a raw deal done to her at the beginning in the Salem witch trials. Like, those other witches were kind of like, no, we're gonna fucking kill you. Like,
but we don't know what she was doing, man.
No,
we
but
have no idea what she was doing. And they definitely held that back on purpose.
I think that they framed that scene at the beginning to make you sympathetic towards her. And I think that they definitely, the way she talks, the way she acts at the end, I feel like she was just trying to make sure that she was right, that Wanda was as dangerous as she thought she was before she,
We still don't know why she's got the kids and what she wants with the kids, because we kind of assumed going through this whole show that the kind of end game of this show was, for some reason, to get Wanda to have kids. and we still don't know why she's got them. Is the reason that she's taken them, is that tie into what she was trying to tap into at the beginning? Because she's like, right, well, now I've kind of helped bring out this like mythical creature of chaos magic, and now I have the two children born of chaos magic. Because she says like, you can create life. Nobody else is doing that. We can't do that. And it seems like that's the power that Agatha maybe wants, is something to do with that. You know,
Sorry, my cat just like my just opened the office door just enough to stick her head in, and I waved at her, and then she just turned around and walked away.
Wade, what's Agatha's end goal?
Well,
you're from the same time period. What are you trying to do?
That's hard for me to say, man, because I'm not, I know nothing about the comic books or anything, so I've never heard of Agatha until she's been introduced now. I know nothing about her or what she's done, I don't know, man, but, I don't know.
Like,
she's just choking those kids out, man. She just chokes them out. Like, this doesn't
that's a dark
be some kind of elaborate, grand plan here, guys. You're like, I'm going to tell your kids, I'm going to choke them out while I tell you your life story. That's my plan. I'm just here for the lels,
But Wade, like, based off of what we've seen in this episode, I guess, do you think that she is after Wanda's powers to have as her own, or do you think that she is like, you're dangerous and I'm gonna take you out?
I think she wants to use Wanda. I think she wants to use Wanda if she can control her. If she can't control her, then she needs to take her out.
Okay, I can get behind that. I think that's likely.
It seems, here's the thing, right? We'll get into so Wanda and Hayward in the Sword base. Wanda's as we're catching up to ourselves, we get to the kind of the prequel to this show where we get Wanda kind of going in there after coming back from that. Pardon?
I just said that was really cool how they went back to after the finger snap and she was looking for Vision's body. That was all really fucking cool.
It was pretty cool. She comes in and she's like, "Where's the body?" And he's like, "I'm gonna show you." We kind of know what's coming here. Really, it's gonna be grim. My stomach was churning, man. I as waiting for the camera to turn around to see what he looked like, and I knew what was coming, and I felt what she was feeling, man. I was just like, I want to see him, but I kind of don't. This is gonna, and we've already seen him a couple of times in this form throughout the show, but something about kind of just seeing it through her eyes for the first time. What did she think they were going to do? Just have him laying on a plinth or something like ceremonial? Of course, they're ripping him apart for parts.
Yeah.
Come on.
I think it was also.
Of course, that's what they're doing.
I think it was also partly for show. He knew what he was doing. I think Hayward has been planning. I think he has been hoping that something along these lines would happen the entire time.
They're trying to find. They're trying to find the power source to get Vision up and running. Well, maybe if she was from the Mind Stone like he was, then maybe if she shows up, then maybe she can jumpstart him. What?
I think he wanted to piss her off.
I still think there's more with him. I definitely think there's more with him. I think maybe he's working. I think there's more to his plan than we know. Maybe he's working for somebody or some extra motive that we haven't seen yet. Because he literally says to her, "Oh, well, maybe you could just
bring him back to life.
Do my thing and bring him back to life." Like he knew he was putting that thought in her head, and it kind of what instigates this whole show, really.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think she wasn't there to do that. She's like, "I'm not here for that. I don't want to bring him back. I just want to say goodbye and move on." And then he could have literally just wrapped that problem up in a bow, dealt with it, and come to some kind of compromise. Would not have been difficult, but he literally just wanted to cattle prod her a little bit into, almost like his goal is in tandem with Agatha's. Like he's made Wanda do this. And now Agatha's right to kind of have her make the kids. And it seems like, if there was a big bad, I think there's definitely a connection between Big Bad, Hayward, and Agatha. If there is. I think there's something going on there. I'm probably wrong. We've all been wrong this whole time.
We were wrong. We thought it was Mephisto. The line in there that broke me was when she goes up. She like is using her powers on his head, and she goes, "I can't feel you." Because
that callback.
one of my maybe my like this is really fucked up, but my favorite scene in Infinity War, I think, is when she kills him. And he goes, because the music in that, oh my god, I think the track is called "I Feel You," and
is that is it Infinity War with that line where he says, "I don't," or she says, "I just feel you."
yeah, I think he goes, "You can't hurt me, I just feel you," and
that's it. Oh man,
and then the music plays as she kills him, and then Dano pulls out the Uno reverse card and does it himself. But
the Uno cards and just puts them in.
Yeah,
he's got a +1.
that line, the "I can't feel you."
Yeah.
Like I said, this episode's all just an exploration of Wanda's grief. It's like a 40-minute exploration of grief, and I loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
It's pretty good, guys. We are, spoiler alert, we are a fan of this show over here at this show.
Some of us are bigger fans than the other, it seems. Some of us apparently, I don't know. They got some weird opinions.
We can't all be well informed and cultured. What can I say, guys? What can I say?
I have another image from when Wanda's driving through the town that I want to bring up, just because.
Yeah, let's get to
it. This scene is, Wanda driving through town is so good, but we see our buddy here. He's putting up, learn piano with little, his phone number for people to take, and I love the connection that was my grandmother's piano. I don't know.
Yeah, that was a nice touch.
But I love when they're driving through the town and you're just seeing everybody, and the place kind of sucks. Like Pietro wasn't wrong when he was like, you kind of have improved some of their lives. The quality of life has gone up. They don't have a choice, and that's really fucked up. But the place does look nicer now. And that's true, because the place it looks really run down when you go there.
But here's the thing, in episode 4, did they not say that the town just didn't exist? So
I think that was their stuff getting, I think that was those cops, like their memories getting messed with because of what Wanda had done.
So it's just like that makes sense. Because I was a little bit like, oh, so it is an actual town? I thought it wasn't. And she kind of just took over this like empty field or something. And
no, I think they had gotten messed with by Wanda's powers is all.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, what can you say, man? Happens to 1 in 4 of us, get messed with the powers. You forget what you was doing, and you just struggle to get that day moving in the direction that you want to move.
It's hard,
in.
Man. It's hard.
It's or maybe
about the Night King now.
The Night King. So that scene, they built up Jon Snow for so long, man, and all he does. Not that. We're not talking about Game of Thrones season 8, because
no. About the Night King cameo in the end of this episode.
Oh yeah, I know.
Man, here's the thing: why would Wanda kill Jon Snow to bring him back to life, just to not even put him on the throne anyway at the end, guys? Like, what was the point?
Are you saying that Wanda orchestrated the entirety of Game of Thrones?
Why not?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Wanda's Melisandre.
I'm down.
Can't you tell that, she was halfway through producing the last season, and then Doctor Strange came in and stopped her from doing what she was doing?
All right, let's bring up Dr. Manhattan himself.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Is this a character from the comic books?
Yeah, this is
kind of
in the comics, as far as I understand it. At one point, Vision becomes like the White Vision, the like gray, silver Vision, whatever you want to call him, and it's like Vision without the humanity.
Right.
He has no emotion.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't love Wanda. So that's kind of scary. Like I don't think he's necessarily a bad guy, but I do think that that's kind of a scary idea of the powers of Vision without the morality that he has.
Yeah, I mean, are we going to see this kind of this Grey Vision used like as like a proto bad guy? And because we kind of need somebody for people to kind of throw some punches at in the last episode, and I feel like that's where Grey Vision comes in. You think that's kind of where we're going?
You know what I think is going to happen? I think this motherfucker is going to show up. All right. He's going to stare down the real Vision. He's going to open his mouth. All right. And it's Ultron's voice. I think we're getting what's his name? Who played Ultron?
James Spader.
Yeah, James Spader. I think he's going to open his mouth and we're going to hear Ultron's voice come out of him. I feel like that'd be a great like cameo.
In one hand, I think that's cool for the cameo and stuff, but in the kind of logic in the universe, kind of the part of Vision that was Ultron was the Mind Stone, right?
No, he uploaded himself. The part that made Vision good, we think, was the Mind Stone. The Mind Stone overrode the parts of Vision that were Ultron. Is kind of what they talk about in like Infinity War. That with like there's Jarvis, there's Ultron, and there's the Mind Stone all in there. And hopefully, if we take the Mind Stone out, he'll still be good and not Ultron.
Yeah.
I think.
So,
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, so you think we're just going to end up with a random kind of slightly out of left field battle with Ultron in the last episode of WandaVision? You think that's what we're getting?
I don't know if it's going to be Ultron, but I think I think it'd be smart to differentiate the two Visions. Like, obviously they look completely different, but I think even just throwing in James Spader's voice would be, and I'm sure he'd be down to do it.
And not even,
Yeah.
I think for the, people who recognize the voice, it'll make sense, and they'll just be like, oh yeah, of course, evil Vision would just sound like Ultron. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I feel that.
I think there's two possible end games for Vision. You mentioned you think he might. Yeah, thank you, Wade. Thank you for Let me just. I think that wait, am I looking the right way? No, I gotta look this way. Okay. I think that it's possible that he dies. I think they kind of been setting up that the end of the series has to be him like kind of or like Wanda giving up and like moving on.
He can't leave the hex because we find out he's the only thing in the hex made from a real thing, right? Because they established that in the other episodes.
Here's the question:
can he merge with?
Exactly. Does Vision have a soul? Is there enough? Sure, the body's fake, but is there enough inside of Vision that he could take over this Vision's body? And
but the Vision that would take over that body is literally just a construct of Wanda's magic.
How powerful is she?
Yo-Mag, because that's kind of what Agatha's saying, right? You've got the chaos magic, you can make the life, and we're going to assume that let's assume that we're not going to kill any kids in this show. The twins are probably going to be around moving forward, so we're going to establish that she's. Spoiler alert: the kids are not dying, guys. And I know we all tune in every week because we like kids to die at the end of a show. That's how we get a satisfying ending.
Okay, so here's my thought process. Right? My thought process is Vision can't leave the hex. She created him, right? But the problem is that she can't like create the Mind Stone. So the thing that actually powers this version of Vision, the part that like makes him alive, she can't create that. I think if you bring in this other version of Vision that has an alternative source in this whatever the fuck is on his forehead, and I think it's at least within the realm of possibility that you could write it as our Vision that Wanda constructed taking over his body, and now that he has like a power source in this thing in his head that's real, he can leave and live on. Or they could kill him. I think I'd be fine either way. I'd like more Vision, but they've also set it up really well that if he died, I think it would be probably emotionally satisfying.
It kind of just feels like too easy in a way to kill him. It just feels like a given that we're kind of just going to go through this journey and then go back to square one of not having him again.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like what you're proposing would be even cooler. And again, I love Vision, and I'd be cool to see, I don't know how he'd factor into future movies, but having a Grey Vision around for at least a little bit would be fun. Here's the thing: I think Grey Vision is going to turn out to be a piece of shit. He's not gonna do anything good. He's probably going to go rogue, on Hayward, and he's going to get his comeuppance. So I think if Grey Vision is bad, and Wanda's vision is good, and then maybe he finds a way to transfer into Grey Vision. I think what we end up with, in my theory, is we end up with a kind of neutral villain that's a neutral vision that's neither good or bad and has no memories, but at least is like good, kind of, not like non-destructive at least. And then maybe at some point down the line we can just, in future Avengers movies or team up movies, we can kind of just have this extra like powerhouse body on the screen in White Vision, or maybe he just goes off into the sunset and we never see him again.
Yeah, I think you could write. I think you could write Vision off at the end of this show. I think you could write him back to life, and I think either way it would work beautifully. I think they have two avenues open to them to either get rid of Vision or to bring him back and keep him, and I think either way would work.
Yeah, because you can't just bring him back with no consequences as he was, because we already got enough slack of from like, oh well, we just Endgame was just bringing everybody back, but at least Vision stayed dead. There's got to be a consequence if she does bring him back. I think that consequence is his memories, and we end up with a blank slate. Maybe at some point down the line, another character who maybe gets some critical injuries now has a vessel to possibly be transferred over into, and they could kind of adapt that one the man storyline, but for maybe a different character in a way. Fun thing to have in your pocket for in the future. Maybe if we get Young Adventures and we get Iron Lad, maybe he just kind of takes over that body when he travels into our timeline, because that's the vessel that's there for him, kind of thing. Could be some fun stuff. Wait. Any final predictions for next week, guys?
Let's go around. Starting with you, Wade. Who's the cameo? Who's the cameo next week?
I'm gonna try to get you guys go first, because I want to try to give a serious. Well, wait, no, I had a serious answer last week, but I can't remember. I can't remember who it was. Oh yeah, I think it's gonna be Wolverine.
Hugh Jackman.
No, yeah, for real. I'm serious.
Okay.
I'm not going to try to give some explanation. I'm just going to say my gut feeling is that it will be Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. If we're talking about the Luke Skywalker of the MCU, in my mind, that's who it is.
I love him. I love you going, I'm not going to try to explain it. And then you went on to try to explain it.
Look, guys, if you need a new vessel for the soul of your dead android husband, what better vessel to put that soul into?
Hugh Jackman.
Damn straight.
I don't think Jackman's going to be.
I want it now.
Jackman as Wolverine is going to be the big cameo.
Possibly. Who do you think? Who do you think, Dean? Who's the big cameo next episode?
All right, so sorry to kind of bring us back down to earth. It's Doctor Strange. Obviously, it's Doctor Strange.
No,
we're gonna have
obviously. It's too obvious.
But and also, the curious thing is, he said it's somebody that he's wanted. Did he ever get a chance to work with Benedict on any of the Marvel movies? No. Okay, then
they don't appear. They don't appear any.
It's Doctor Strange.
No.
It's Doctor Strange. We're going to get this big battle between Wanda, Agatha, White Vision, regular Vision.
Oh my God.
And I think Doctor Strange is just going to have to come in and mediate everything. The other
what
thing
are you guys doing?
Kind of round back up to the beginning of this episode, and that ties it into Doctor Strange. Agatha wipes out all these other witches, and there's somebody else who's not a fan of people using magical powers, and that is Baron Mordo from Doctor.
Uh-huh.
So,
Dude, if he shows
if
up
he
in
just
this show,
kills her,
I'll
she's mid
flip my
monologue, and
shit.
Baron Mordo just fucks her up, out of nowhere. He's not exactly a Luke Skywalker level cameo for most people, but I'm a big Baron Mordo fan. I'm a big Chiwetel Ejiofor fan. I love his performance in that, and that end credit scene for Doctor Strange was dark
Yeah.
as F. And if he just showed up and murdered Agatha Harkness, that would be the funniest shit I've ever seen.
If Baron Mordo shows up in the next episode of WandaVision, I will lose my goddamn mind. I promise you that. If Doctor Strange shows up, I think I'll lose a little bit less just because it makes sense. It's probably going to happen. But I'm excited nonetheless. I can't believe next week is it. We're almost done.
Crazy.
There's got to be they have to have a surprise 10th episode for us.
I don't think so. I think next week is it.
I think next week is it. We'll probably get like a gallery type thing on it, I would imagine.
Confirmed there's going to be a documentary episode the week after.
Okay,
so the week in between WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they're doing a making of WandaVision episode. I think we are going to be absolutely devastated at the end of this next episode. And here's my wild prediction that in my heart I want to happen, but I don't think is going to happen. I think in the credits it will read, well, I don't think it's going to happen, but I want it to happen. Scarlet Witch will return in Spider-Man No Way Home.
Really? Because that's coming out at the end of this year, right?
I want it to happen. I don't. At this point, they've been so adamant that it is not a multiverse story that I'm starting to believe them. That I'm like, maybe they really are trying to temper people's expectations because nothing's going to happen. But
I'm hearing rumors that they're shooting Spider-Man 3 and 4 back to back. So
who fucking knows what's happening?
So maybe Spider-Man No Way Home kind of like leaves you on a cliffhanger that leads us into like the Spider-Verse situation.
He said this was his last movie.
Though.
He said this was his last movie. That this is the last one on his contract. That he'd love to come back, but as of right now, he doesn't have another movie on his contract.
Man, we get this stuff with either the character of Spider-Man and the Marvel Sony thing, or the actor. He's only got this many.
If they're shooting back to back,
he's locked in.
If they're shooting back to back, I wonder if that counts as 1 or 2 movies on his contract.
That's how they get him. That's
you think it's 2?
I would say so because it's 2 separate movies. So
I thought Infinity War and Endgame only counted as 1 on people's, but maybe I'm just making that up in my head. I thought because they shot those back to back.
Yeah, maybe it depends on how much you appear. Like if you're only doing like if an actor's only doing like 1 movie's worth of work, but they're appearing in both movies.
You good?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not what I think is going to happen, but deep in my heart, I hope that it says Scarlet Witch will return and Spider-Man No Way Home. I think that's why they just announced the title.
No, I think the cameo is Doctor Strange. He shows up, he kind of mediates, helps sort some of this shit out, and in the end credit scene of this show is Baron Mordo like, oh really? There's another you had another magical person running around. Now I've got to go through the multiverse to the Nexus and kill everyone, and then we tie in, all the magic users, and then we tie into Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. Because I think that's what it is. I think that's how we're tying in here. Because I think this that Nexus thing, and I think the Baron Mordo wanted to wipe out all the sources of magic in the universe. I think that's going to become wiping out all magic in the multiverse because he's going to find out there's certain sources of magic or power that are kind of like universal throughout that kind of cross over throughout different realities. So I think that's kind of, and then Doctor Strange is going to have to chase him through the multiverse of madness to try and stop it.
I'm so excited for next week. No matter how it goes, I'm so excited for the finale.
Hell yeah!
Just give it just a Shuma Gorath reference. Come on. Even if Shuma Gorath is wearing the original Scarlet Witch costume, I want to see it. Tell me you don't want to see Shuma Gorath wearing that outfit, Sean.
I don't know who that is.
Your mind boggles. Where did you put those tentacles? Where does the cleavage come from? I don't even know. You don't even know who Shuma Gorath is.
No, I don't.
That's a That's a
Sorry.
Lovecraftian Marvel monster from another dimension, and it's a big eye with tentacles. That's his superpower. Just a big eye. No, there's more to him than that. He's better than. He's not just an eye, guys. He's more than meets the eye. Anyway. Oh my god.
What?
I can't believe that came out enough. Right. Where can they find you, Sean?
Well, if you look
LOL.
right there, kind of right there, at Sean_AFK on Twitter. Everything that I do is on my Twitter bio.
Jay, hit him up with beats.
You can find me at JWade1134 on the Twitter and on Stereo, as well as at the JCast Network on Twitter and the Stereo. And also, please subscribe to the JCast Network on the YouTube.
Definitely go and do that, guys. And you can find me at Twitter at Dean Lewis 2099. That is not Iron Dean 2099, which is definitely not my email address that I actually said last week. It's fine. Dean Lewis, hit me up. And maybe we can discuss some theories before the last episode, because after that, we're not going to have any more theories. No more, is it Mephisto? Because he definitely isn't going to be in Falcon and Winter Soldier. You know, unless, he's living in Bucky's ass. I don't know. It'd be cool to be there, right? We all want to be there.
All right, end the show.
End show. First out.